Turn to the same playbook, unleashing a new round of tariffs. But this time the target is far bigger than before. His focus has shifted toward BRICS, the rapidly expanding alliance that is quietly redrawing the global balance of power. By openly naming it as his primary geopolitical adversary, Trump has stepped into a confrontation that may already be beyond his control. Instead of weakening the bloc, his actions are coinciding with its acceleration. BRICS continues to attract new partners, and just recently Vietnam joined as a partner nation, reinforcing the sense that momentum is firmly on the alliance's side. Even Western media outlets are now acknowledging the unintended consequences of Trump's strategy. Rather than falling in line, Asian countries are diversifying their alliances and deliberately reducing their reliance on Washington. What was meant to intimidate has instead pushed nations away, turning a political gamble into a global risk. The fallout isn't limited to international affairs. Trouble is brewing at home as well. Trump is facing growing resistance from within his own political base, with longtime Republican supporters demanding transparency over the Epstein files he has refused to release. Public opinion reflects this growing unease. Recent polling shows his approval ratings collapsing across nearly every major issue, including employment, inflation, foreign policy, and economic leadership. The confidence he once claimed to inspire is eroding fast. Policies that were sold as a revival plan for American industry are now weighing down the economy. Bond markets are flashing warning signs, with long-term treasury yields climbing to levels not seen in nearly 20 years, a development many economists interpret as an early signal of recession. Instead of restoring dominance, Trump's economic pressure tactics are strengthening the very coalition he aimed to break apart. This shift was impossible to ignore at the 2025 BRICS summit in Rio de Janeiro, where leaders gathered in an atmosphere defined by unity and confidence. While representatives inside the summit discussed cooperation and expansion, Trump reacted from afar, issuing social media threats aimed at any country aligned with BRICS, promising blanket tariffs as punishment. These statements did not project strength. They revealed anxiety. Countries that once feared economic retaliation are no longer intimidated. In many ways, it is this pattern of unpredictable and heavy-handed behavior that led to the formation of BRICS in the first place. Brazil's president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, summed it up plainly by declaring that nations are exhausted by unquestioned obedience to Washington. Brazil, he explained, is seeking partnerships based on equality rather than commands. As BRICS advocates for a more balanced and inclusive global framework, Trump is moving in the opposite direction, embracing isolation and confrontation. Even traditional U.S. allies are now caught in the crossfire. Canada faces the threat of extreme tariffs, while Japan and South Korea have already been hit despite their strategic importance to the United States. These moves are less about economics and more about political leverage, leaving observers to question whether America's global standing is being deliberately undermined. At the same time, BRICS is laying the foundation for a multipolar future, one where influence is shared rather than centralized. The message from the 2025 summit was unmistakable. BRICS is no longer defensive, it is advancing. Brazil, in particular, emerged as a central figure in this transformation. While China is often seen as the driving force behind BRICS, Brazil used the summit to assert its independence and challenge Washington's interference. Trump's personal alignment with Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro added another layer of tension. After Bolsonaro lost the 2022 election, his supporters attempted a coup reminiscent of the chaos seen in the United States on January 6. Bolsonaro now faces legal consequences in Brazil, and Trump's response was to announce harsh tariffs against the country, effectively punishing it for enforcing its own laws. This move echoed a long history of U.S. interference in Latin America, but the response this time was different. Brazil refused to yield. President Lula made it clear that Brazil's economy does not depend on American approval, and that alternative partnerships are already in place. Those alternatives increasingly point eastward. China has become Brazil's most significant economic partner, stepping in as the United States pulls back. This relationship extends far beyond basic trade. Brazil supplies China with food and raw materials, while China provides advanced manufacturing, technology, and infrastructure investment. The exchange is reciprocal and strategic. It reflects the broader BRICS vision of cooperation rather than domination.